Hey guys, Ronnie here. This week's episode is brought to you by NelsieSpencer.com. Everything Nelsie Spencer and Losing It is on NelsieSpencer.com. There you can find links to Nelsie's book, movie, and classes. Take Nelsie's writing classes or get one-on-one coaching and sharpen your writing skills. Take classes like screenwriting class and novel writing first draft. If you'd like to support the show, grab a couple things at the Losing It merch store where we have mugs, t-shirts, hoodies, hats like this one, the one I'm wearing, and much more. If you're watching this on YouTube, check out links to NelsieSpencer.com and other things such as the links to our equipment we use and all our social handles in the description down below. And if you want to contact us, tell us you love us, hate us, want to tell us you're losing a story and possibly have Nelsie read it on the show, email us at losingitcontact@gmail.com.
Losing it, losing it, losing it, losing it, losing it, losing it, losing it. If you got a story, we don't care if it's happy or gory, so come share your losing it story with us.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to Losing It with me, Nelsie Spencer, the podcast where guests come on and you know the end of the sentence. They tell a losing it story. And with me for the last time is the beautiful and talented and bearded Ronnie Whaley. Hi, dear.
Hi. Hello. Goodbye.
Hello. Goodbye. All right. So that was it. Yeah. We have some news, and the news is our second podcast, which is called What If Nothing's Wrong, now has its very own feed. It used to be Therapy Thursday, but now it's under its own umbrella. I'm sure that's the wrong term. What term should I be using, Ronnie?
Channel.
Channel. Thank you. Every time I ask him, and every time he says channel, I'm like, oh, right. So Ronnie is going to continue to produce this podcast, but he's not going to co-host it with me anymore. Isn't that true, Ronnie?
Yes.
And
for now, at least.
That?
I mean,
for now, at least. What do you think? I'm going to let you back? You think you can toss me aside? Toss me aside like an old shoe, like some old podcast you don't care about anymore? And then I'll let you back?
Oh, well, I guess not then. I guess that's not happening.
No, I'd let you back because you know what? Because I'm a sucker. I'll let you back.
Well, yeah. I mean, I feel like it is more of a priority thing at the moment, but I feel like when things do, get into our favor, then anything is possible.
Anything is possible, right? Because we live in an abundant universe. Who the hell knows what might happen? Yeah. I mean, I was thinking about it today, and I was thinking about how it's sort of like, you came and, I had the podcast had training wheels on, and then you helped me and you'd push the bike and you'd run along beside me. And now I can fly. Okay. I'm mixing my metaphors. Now I can ride my Schwinn bike all by myself, and you're just going to stand on the front porch and wave, right?
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, I'll maintain the bike.
Yes, he's going to maintain every night. He's going to put the bike away. He'll make sure it's oiled.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I feel like that's
rust, yeah,
that's what it is.
Keep that bike metaphor. Yeah. So Ronnie's got us going like a well-oiled machine, and he's going to be still producing, but no longer co-hosting.
Yes.
So that's the big news. That's the big news. And what other news? How are things in the Philippines?
Things are good. It's pretty. I'm pretty much in a bubble right now, COVID wise. So I'm pretty lucky where I live right now. So I'm pretty happy about that. And my mom and dad are leaving. I'm staying with them right now. So my mom and dad are leaving for a month, and it's going to be the first time I'm like kind of babysitting, air quotes, my little brother, who is not literally 17. So it's just going to be two of us, which is going to be interesting.
Yeah.
My dad is concerned about it.
Is he? What does he think? You guys are going to open a meth lab? What's he worried about?
Well, he thinks like all the pets are going to die and none of the bills are going to be paid. So
yeah. He's putting you in charge of paying bills? I think that's a bit much.
Yeah, no, it's yeah, I guess so. I mean, certain bills that he can't pay online, I have to do it. So,
Wow.
I mean, it's not going to be it's going to be really easy. Yeah, it's going to be really easy, but my dad, he still gets mad at me for like not mad at me, but he still like brings up stuff from like when I was like 9. So
remember when you didn't close the freezer door and those 25 pounds of salmon we had all melted, right? That kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly that. So like, I kind of get it, and it's not going to be a problem. It's more just like, dealing with parents and stuff like that. But
dealing with parents, it is not easy. I think when the next time he brings up the thing that happened when you were 9, you have to say, Dad, let it go. Time to let that go.
Yeah, no, trust me, I've said that multiple times. At some point, you just gotta accept it.
That's so funny because I feel like as a kid, I was always the one bringing stuff up to my parents. Like, well, maybe not. No, that was in therapy that I kept bringing it up. Never mind.
My brother does that. He like brings up stuff like, yeah, remember that time that I got like whatever, because he's the youngest.
Yeah.
So like he always like talks about like hand-me-downs or whatever.
Yeah.
But honestly, he's the most spoiled kid out of all of us just because he's the baby.
He's the baby.
Yeah. So
remember that time I got really screwed? That's what the baby. Yeah, that's what kids are. Well, Cardi likes to bring up the time that I pushed him through the window in the kitchen. Not through the window. I know that sounds so much more dramatic than it was. We had a door in the kitchen, and the top half of it was a window. You know how that looks like? You know what that looks like? And he deserved to be pushed. Let's just say that. I don't remember what he said, but it was snotty and sarcastic. And I pushed him, and he didn't have a shirt on, and his shoulder went through the window, but there was a screen on the other side. So it wasn't as dramatic as it sounded. It broke the window. Yeah, he had a few shards in his shoulder, but come on. Big deal.
Could have been much worse.
He's 2 years older than me and a guy. So come on. No, I shouldn't have done it. It was wrong. But yeah. All right. So you're gonna be babysitting your 17-year-old brother. All right. Who's gonna win in those power struggles, Ronnie?
Ah, man, I don't know. It's weird. Like it's weird because like it's the first time I've like interacted with my brother as he is becoming an adult. He's always been a kid, and now we're like both pretty much adults. So it's been fun though because like we've been hanging out a lot. We watch movies like every day and stuff.
That's nice.
We have, like,
what have you watched?
Similar.
What have you
we
watched?
So many. We've watched like
tell me.
Birdman. Have you seen Birdman?
Let me just tell you. Of course, everyone talks about Birdman when it came out and went on. There are many movies that I can say this about. I tried to watch it, but my husband couldn't make it through. Like, and not to say that we haven't watched a lot of wonderful movies, but he just that single camera, that one shot thing, he couldn't stick with it. He couldn't stick with it. I know. It's brilliant, right? Did you love it?
It's super good. The problem was that my brother, he's the one who watched it and like wanted to introduce it to me, but he introduced it wrong. He set it up wrong. So he's like, yeah, so it's Michael Keaton, right? And you know how he was Batman? This movie is kind of like how he was Batman. And I was like, oh, okay, so it's gonna be like a Batman movie. And it wasn't.
No,
it wasn't at all. But it was really good.
Well, because it's called Birdman, you think it's about another superhero.
Yeah, I was like, right? Okay, so it's about that. Like, okay, washed up superhero maybe. I was like, okay, that's kind of cool. But no, but it's really good. I love the one shot stuff, and I also do love like theater or like showbiz behind the scenes, like how everything. When you're an audience member, you just see the stage, but then the one take thing is really cool because you go from the front of the stage to the back to the green rooms, all the way to
the dressing rooms, to the wings. Yeah. It's very cool.
And then even to like that one scene where he, in the middle of the play, he like goes out to smoke a cigarette like in that back door. Yeah. And he gets stuck in a robe and he has to walk out Times Square with his underwear. That was really cool because you can see him go from the stage all the way to the outside, all the way around the building. That's just really cool.
Yeah. So, but I think that's great that you're watching movies with your brother. That's so fun. right? And that he's introducing you to a movie, because I would assume you've introduced him to a bunch of movies.
I did. We're doing it like both ways, and yeah, it's cool because he's developing a taste that's similar to mine, so that's fun. And it's like getting to know him again. You know what I mean? So that's pretty cool.
That's very cool. That's very cool. Well, my big news is that, and by the way, if during the month while you're, babysitting in air quotes your little brother, if you need any parenting tips, just call. Just call.
Sure.
I will be of no help.
Okay.
when you say go to your room and he says no, I can't help you. I don't know what to do after that.
I'll just be venting. I can just vent.
Yeah, exactly. Kids these days, God, with their devices and
they don't understand.
Yeah, they don't understand. So my big news is that Callie has a new friend.
Oh, really? Callie, your dog.
Callie, my dog. Callie, my dog. By the way, if you guys don't know who Callie is, what the heck? Listen to a few other episodes. Callie, whose best friend moved to Florida in June, has a new friend who lives 2 doors down. She's a little puppy named Izzy. She's as cute as a button. It looks like she's a boxer something mix. She's like brindle with white paws and a white snout. Mm-hmm. And they wrestle like to the death. They love it. I cleared off my back deck. I like moved all my plants and moved all the furniture. So the rug on my back deck is like the wrestling mat. And me and her owner, this very nice young woman named Sally, we just stand back and watch them wrestle. So, so you might not think that's big news, but it's a very big news when you have a dog that's very high energy and she's got nowhere to put it. And now, she's got somewhere to put it. And at the end of the 45-minute wrestling match, her neck is just covered in saliva and she's panting and so happy. And
she'll sleep like a baby.
She sleeps like a baby. Like a baby, and all is right with the world. So yeah. So I'll keep you guys posted. Yeah. And I feel like that's my big news. That's it. Summer's over. It's officially over. The autumnal equinox came and went. It was a full moon, which was very cool. Uh-huh. And you're leaving me, but I don't take it personally.
I feel like I'm more leaving the audience than you.
No, you're not leaving me. You can't get rid of me, unfortunately. Yeah. And guess what, guys? If you miss Ronnie, go. And even if you don't miss him, go and check out What If Nothing's Wrong. It's really a great podcast and people are loving it. And it's really fun and funny and helpful and informative. So that's kind of cool too.
Yeah.
And, there's me, a woman of a certain age, Heidi, who's younger than I am by quite a bit, but a licensed clinical social worker. And then you got Ronnie, the millennial. So we got all points of view represented.
Yeah.
So I guess it's time. It's time for us to introduce our guest.
Yes. Who is our guest?
I'm not gonna go on and on about him because I do that after I say, let's listen. So it's an amazing guy who's a conservationist. He lives in Namibia in Africa as a conservation company. He saves seals. I found him on Instagram and his name is Naude Dreyer. So let's check it out. So I am so excited that I asked this person to be on and he said yes. And as once again, I found someone who's amazing and interesting and courageous and fascinating through Instagram and just got sucked completely into his feed. And I think I emailed him and he said yes. And I was like, oh my God. So here he is, and he's coming all the way from Namibia. And he founded, I believe, a nonprofit organization called Ocean Conservation Namibia. And he's going to tell us all about that. But I'm so happy to have Naude Dreyer. Hi, Naude.
Hey, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. A little cold, but
yeah. He's in the southern hemisphere, so it's winter there, waiting for spring to come, but it hasn't come yet, unfortunately. So when you say cold, how cold does it get there?
It's relative. It's not like nowhere near snow cold. It's just our houses are not very geared out for cold weather. Generally, it's not really a very. I mean, in Celsius, I'm not sure it is in Fahrenheit. In Celsius, it's
right.
Cold.
I'm no good with
like
that.
10, 12 degrees. So it's cold for us, but it's just
probably. I think it's. Oh, don't ask me. I don't know that stuff. If my husband were here, he could do the conversion.
I think it's around 55.
So it doesn't snow.
No,
it doesn't snow there. Okay, I didn't think so. Okay, all right. So, so are you a native of Namibia, or where were you born?
No, I was born in Namibia. I was born in the big national park. My parents are rangers there, and I'm third or fourth generation. Yeah,
third or fourth generation Namibian.
Yeah.
Is that it? That's fantastic. And do you have siblings?
I do. I've got a sister. She and her wife run a restaurant locally. Awesome place, and yeah.
Fantastic. And you're a dad, am I correct?
I am. I've got 3 kids. Yeah.
You have 3 kids, and you had to put them to sleep. What are their ages?
They are 8, 10, 11. There's a lot of them. They outnumber us, and they're at a very feisty, rowdy age.
So, do you ever use any of the seal nets to try and catch them?
I need to test them on the if my dogs see the net, they avoid me like the plague already. They've learned. So, and the kids have learned to avoid them
oh
too.
My God. Yeah, because they've seen what dad can do. They've seen dad wrestle, what? How big is the biggest seal that you've wrestled, do you think? If you were going to guess, once again, you're not going to do pounds, right? Are you going to
I don't know. I've counted to pounds a few times. It's close on, it's like 440 pounds, about 200 kilograms.
Wow. So your kids have seen you wrestle a 440-pound seal. I would think that would make them, just do whatever you ask them to do.
A little more respectful, you'd think, but no.
No, it's horrible, right? I remember when my kids went from like, Mommy, why is the sky blue? You're so pretty, to like not listening to a thing I said.
Yeah.
How old is your youngest? 5, did you say?
No, they're 8, 10, 11.
Oh, 8, 10. Wow, 10 and 11. Wow. All right, you guys got your hands full.
But they're cool. They joined us. They joined me a lot in the seal rescues, and they're very outdoory kids and really sporty and busy. But
and you're really an outdoor guy too. Like you surf. I mean, and you grew up in a national park, yes?
Yeah. So I'm basically glad to go to school. We then moved to the coast. My parents didn't want to send me to boarding school, and then I just grew up along the ocean. I just pretty much lived next to the sea, and just one thing led to another in the seals.
Wow. So, what I know that in England, first of all, boarding school isn't a big thing in the U.S. A certain sort of group, and I would say class of people, are people that whose parents went to boarding school. Then oftentimes you go to boarding school, and in the U.S. you end up going to boarding school around 9th grade, which I think you're like 13 or 14. How does it work where you are? What time? How old were you when you went to boarding school?
A lot of my friends went to, because you've got a massive country with a very small population, only got 2 million people, and not that many towns. So many people live on farms, live in far out places. So there's just not really much an alternative. At that stage, homeschooling just was not really an option at all. And so it was just a normal thing for so many kids from first grade to go to boarding school.
Wow. And is that when you started?
No, I didn't. My parents didn't want to send me to boarding school. They were cool. So they brought me to. So we moved to the coast.
I misunderstood. Yeah. Oh, fantastic.
No, I didn't.
So you didn't.
I didn't.
See, I like your parents. I like them.
Yeah. The boarding school kids always end up a little odd.
Yeah. Oh, gee. You're taken away from your parents in first grade and it screws you up a little bit. What a surprise, right?
Exactly.
I mean, Hello. So cool. So you've got these conservationist parents. You move to the coast. You don't have to go away to boarding school and wear a tie and little shorts and knee socks in first grade. When did you start surfing?
In high school. I did a lot of, did a lot of diving, snorkeling, fishing as well. And I grew up doing a lot of fishing. It's a big part of my life before. And my dad was a fisherman. And once we moved here, and I was kayaking. But yeah, I guess from high school, that sort of passion for the ocean really manifested itself.
When you're on Instagram, they know the algorithm and they just start sending you stuff, right? And one of the first people I had on Losing It after I started working with Ronnie about a year ago was an animal rescuer. He does mostly dogs. I think he does exclusively dogs. And he's great. He follows you. His name is Zach Scow. Zach Scow. I love Zach. Do you know Zach?
Zach, yeah, we've done a podcast together as well. I love Zach. He's such a nice guy.
How great is Zach? He is so amazing. He's awesome. He's really another person where I was like, please be on my podcast. And he said yes. And I was like, oh my, and he's such a nice guy.
He is.
Oh geez, surprise, surprise. The animal rescuer is a nice guy. So you ended up in my Instagram feed. And so I just want to tell the listeners and the viewers that I just see a sea of seals. And what kind of seals are they?
They're Cape Fur seals. So for anyone in the States, they're similar, sort of distant cousin to the California sea lion, to the California fur seals. They don't look like the traditional seal, and they're actually taxonomically closer to a sea lion. So standing more upright instead of lying down all the time, and like just big sea dogs, really.
And there's these huge populations of them right there on the Namibia coast, correct? And when I'm watching a video, it's just a sea of them. How big would they be considered a herd? Is it?
A colony normally.
Colony, okay.
Yeah, a seal colony. And
how many are there?
Well, in Namibia in total, we've got around 1.3 million. But the area where I'm working mainly, so Pelican Point, the one colony we go to, where we spend most of our time, is probably around anything between 40 and 60,000. And then Cape Cross, where we drive 2 hours north, that one is much more concentrated, and there you get up to 200,000. So it's just absolutely incredible. You've just got this absolute mass of seals. It's a sight to behold. Like you don't see anything like that anywhere else in the world. It's really
oh my God. I'm coming to Namibia very soon. I want to see this. So tell us the origin story of how you came to be. You're a full-time conservationist, is that correct? Is this what you're doing?
Yeah, basically, yeah. So but just through surfing and developing this love for the ocean, and then I was working as a kayaking guide in the area amongst the seals, and starting up my own kayaking company there, and just felt this custodianship towards the ocean, and since a young age, my dad was always called out to help with stranded whales and dolphins, and I've always been involved with sort of animal rescues. And on a kayak, saw the seal entangled in a bunch of line nets. We dragged him out to the beach. This is about 9 years ago. We cut him loose, and it felt really good. It felt like the right thing to do. We realized we'd saved this animal's life, and one thing led to another.
So when you're off the coast, first of all, when I see the videos, I see all the seals on the shore. And so when you're off the coast and you're surfing, because I think I've seen seals. Do seals catch waves? Am I right?
They do, especially around here. There are so many of them, so there's always seals in the waves. Yeah.
Right. So when you're surfing or kayaking, before you sort of turned this corner, would they be close to you? How close do they come to the humans, and when you're out in the water, or is that kind of rare?
They're really inquisitive animals, so they'll always pop up, and on the kayak they'll come right up to you. They'll nibble on your paddle. They'll the little ones might even sort of jump up at their feet and come and look at you. And they're super inquisitive, very playful animals. So,
oh my God. They're like,
really
hey, what's up?
Yeah. Exactly.
Oh, that is so great. What am I doing living here in New Jersey? I'm getting on a plane tomorrow. Oh my God. It's like, so you see this seal, and you said we helped it. Who else was involved in that initial sort of rescue?
At that stage, it was
seal?
just one of the other guides on the water that day. We just dragged him to the beach, and then
how big was he or she?
That one wasn't
how
that
big. Was he or
she?
He
was maybe 40 or 50 pounds.
Yeah. Okay.
And
how freaked out was he?
He was stuck in a lot of net. It was a huge bundle of net. So he was quite immobilized. And after that, we started, once we realized this was a thing, we started, like, you can go to a bunch of seals at Cape Cross where there's 200,000 seals, and there can be 30 entangled seals in front of you, and you will not see them unless you're really looking for them. It's so subtle. And only once we actually started knowing this is a problem, actually actively looking for them, did we see more and more of them. So it became a bit of a mission while we were on the kayaking tours to look for seals, and just became more and more until about 3-4 years ago we started really actively logging it, and we started filming it as well. I actually filmed in the beginning just to sort of show my kids and my wife why I'm coming home with bite marks every once in a while. And
yeah, no, honey, it's a seal. Oh, right. No, really, it was a seal.
and yeah, then about 2 years ago, we sort of made the decision to start up this Ocean Conservation Namibia, the nonprofit, and just basically hoping that through funding and that we could just pursue this on a full-time basis.
So I want to back up a little bit. So you're kayaking, you see this seal, just totally, really, really bound up by these nets. Did you get it into the kayak?
No, with the two of us, we sort of dragged him to the beach. We were only kayaking maybe 50 yards from the beach, so we dragged him to the beach. Right,
so you're not that far. So when you drag it to the beach, did you have a knife on you? Did you know what I mean? How did you cut it?
Growing up, I've always got a knife on me.
There you go. Of course, because you're an outdoor kid and you're, so yeah, who needs a knife? Yeah, okay, good. And then when you let it go, what did that feel like? To let really it go and watch?
Knowing that you've directly saved this animal's life. It's a great feeling. It becomes a bit of after a while it becomes a bit addictive. So you sort of chasing that's like heroin, that chasing that first high again each time.
Yeah, but guess what? Yeah, no needle marks, and you're actually doing something. The great thing about it is that great feeling is appropriate. It's appropriate. It's not chemical. I mean, it's chemical, but it's because you've done something amazing. You've actually made a difference, right? Yeah. So, what's your Instagram handle?
So we're, my personal one, which has been going since the beginning, the one that really took off, which sort of put us out there initially, is Namib _Naude, and then Ocean Conservation Namibia is which actually is a lot better at posting new content all the time. It's a much more active page. I'm terrible. I'm not a social media fundy at all.
Yeah. You're a little busy saving seals. Saving seals. So maybe you're not so good with the posting. So we'll put all that in the notes so people can follow. And also, if you follow him, there's an obvious place where you can donate. What I wanted to ask you also is, I noticed, well, obviously you have these nets. How long into it it looks like did you design and create those nets just specifically to save seals, or was something like that already out there?
No. So what happened was the first net only came to us just over 2 years ago. Again, through Instagram, it's been amazing, which is connecting us with people all over the world. There is no How to Catch Seals for Dummies book out there.
Well, now you can write it. You can write it.
We were winging it completely. So we were completely cowboy going in there with like kayak paddles, trying to pin them down, get towels over their head. And we got bitten a lot. And somebody from Noah in Seattle saw the videos. He contacted me and said, listen, he's doing similar things on the Californian coast. And he sent me one of his old nets, and it was just an absolute game changer for us. It just went from, things went exponential. Suddenly we could catch seals that were bigger than just being able to catch by hand. I mean, we were catching seals only by hand. And suddenly we could catch pretty much almost anything that came our way. So now we're getting much bigger seals, much more often. Like we go out now. There's 4 of us. We've got 3 big nets and 3 small nets. And like we'll do one run in there, and sometimes we'll fill them all up with seals and then start and in one like run and get them.
That is amazing. And I think that's first of all, it's I when I first started watching, I was like, okay, so these seals look like a huge Santa Claus hat, right? They're tapered, a little bit tapered at the end, and they're big enough so you can get the seal in them. But then at first I was like, well, once you have them in there, how do you get the stuff off? But they have a zipper in it, right?
Yeah, so it's the initial, like we've added a few designs to the subsequent nets. We're having them made ourselves now by the same woman that made the first net. And we've put in 2 sets of like bi-directional zippers, giving us more access to the seal, and it just makes everything much safer for us and a lot less stressful for the animals. So no, they're
right.
Definitely massive game changer.
So if you've got these 2 zippers, no matter where the thing is on their body, their neck,
yes, you can always get to it. Exactly.
Oh my goodness. So you guys are all going to go and check out the Instagram page, and you'll see these amazing videos. But that one where you were like the angriest seal ever, the 450-pound one, this seal thought you guys, like, I don't know if you edited that, but how long did that go on?
That was the one that I remember. I think that was the one that just kept biting the net and shaking me around, and like he just wouldn't go in there.
No, he was like, I don't think so. How long did that take? Just like as a side thing, every day we post videos on YouTube, like full length videos, which are normally much more indicative to the actual length of the rescue. So it's always the best place to watch the videos. Instagram, we normally shorten them down because people on Instagram seem to have a very short attention span. Yeah. So you can go to, and your YouTube channel is...
There's also Ocean Conservation Namibia.
Ocean Conservation Namibia, where you can see the full length. Yeah. So I did end up watching the long version of it? I don't remember if I did. This, you go and look at the long version, guys, because
that guy was particularly angry. He was really, really upset. He just kept on biting the net, and like he actually tore the net. We had to have it repaired after that, and he just kept on. I mean, I always compare it to like you're basically sitting on a 300-pound pit bull, like trying to. Right. He's just as strong. He's just as angry. And this is like a fighting dog, like not just a regular nice family dog, pet friendly. This guy is a street fighter. Right.
And not an animal that's ever been domesticated, unlike, every dog you'd ever meet. Wow.
So he doesn't know why you're jumping on his back, why you're trying to harass him and hold him down. So
right. And do you ever get I'm sure you get scared, but was that really scary with that big one? Or do you always feel like, you know what? Yeah, they're big, but I can run faster and I have the upper hand. Or are you scared sometimes?
There's a bunch of factors. There's this whole, like you've got massive support faith in the team that's with me. Like, I need to know that they've got my back the whole time. They need to know that I've got their back. So that really helps. And it's also like, I can't lose face and lose the seal. That's not going to happen either. So there's but no, when you've got this thing bearing down at you, especially like when you're close to the beach and this guy's coming down at you, you've only got one chance to get him in the net. I sometimes put my heart rate monitor on, and it's spiking out like above my maximum heart rate. Like it's
What? Over
adrenaline.
200 beats? How high? How high does it get?
It goes like 190 plus for a while, and it'll take a while to stabilize afterwards.
Yeah. So there's your cardio. So you're good. You're good for the week. And where did you find your team?
I've got a very cool team. So Antoine, the Frenchman, he was working for Sea Shepherd, and his boat came into port 2 years ago, and by chance we met in a gym and we were chatting and heard what he was up to. So I thought he might enjoy going out. So I took him out twice to come help me catch seals. At that stage, I was pretty much doing it alone still. And then in the beginning of last year, he was stuck on, he had some shore leave. He was based in Singapore, and he came to visit in March, end of February, for 10 days. He just came to visit. He had some time off, and he said, "Can I come help you catch seals?" I said, "Sure." And then we got hit by lockdowns, and 10 days became 6 months. So we were just out every single day. It was the most amazing time because there was no one on the beaches, no one around. Like every day we could just go out and catch seals. It was just like it became a full-time thing, and we just enjoyed it so much.
Fantastic.
So he went back.
So he never left. He never left.
No, he stayed for 6 months then, and then he left. He went back for another campaign, and just decided that this is his heart belongs to seals, and he's been back since March again. And then Denzel, he's the really fast guy. He's brilliant. He's actually one of my kayaking guides. He's been helping me with the seals as well. And during the lockdown as well, there was no kayaking work, so I roped him in to help with the seals. And the last guy is Whaley. He's joined. He's actually one of the first. He used to work with me kayaking like 8-9 years ago, and I found some ancient videos. He was actually one of the first guys to help me catch seals like years ago, and he's been living overseas for the last 5 years. He's come back. And then the main, I guess the most integral team member is probably my wife. Like she keeps it together. She really, like, she's the boss. She's the one who really gives us structure. She keeps everything, like, she runs tight ship. She's German. And she's brilliant. She's really good at just, like, we if it's up to us, we'd just be out there every day catching seals, and nothing else would happen around. Like, nothing would get ordered.
Right.
No videos would be posted. Yeah. Nothing. Like, it's a bit.
I mean, you have to have somebody that's got that administrative side of it, because if people don't know what you're doing, and the change that not only are you guys making a difference, like one seal at a time, by actually saving seals, what you're doing is you're creating this awareness around just the incredible amount of garbage that is in the ocean and how much danger our marine animals are. I mean, I think we all know it intellectually, but to have these videos where you see these seals with something, a fishing line that's cutting into them, and it takes it to a whole new level. So you guys doing it one at a time is one thing, but if we didn't know about it, how long have you guys nonprofit now? Like 2 years?
2 years. That's, I mean, you said it exactly right there. So we have got no shortage of seals in Namibia. Saving that one seal is not going to save the population. It's not going to make any difference at all. But it makes a difference that one animal, and more importantly, the amount of awareness we've been able to generate through social media, it's just been huge. It's given us a voice, and that's why we need social media has become such a big part of our organization. Just because, I mean, we've got people reaching out from all over the world telling us how what we're doing has changed their ways, and that's where my wife is so brilliant in putting all these actions into words, putting it out there, and it's amazing. So
maybe I should have her on next.
You might have to, yeah.
Well, that brings me to a couple of questions. We're going to get to your losing it story in about 3 minutes, but the question is, first of all, guys, go to oceanconservationnamibia.org and give some money so Nadia and his team can continue to do what they're doing, right? And secondly, what can an individual do in a lifestyle change or a choice in what they buy or what they eat? Is there something that each individual can do to create a change in what's happening globally?
We get this question all the time, and it's very difficult. So on a level at home, I mean, you never know what's going to end up in landfill and from there into the ocean. So make a bit of extra effort to recycle, to reduce single-use plastics. If you eat fish, try and do a little bit of research on the sustainability of the fishery that you are supporting. A lot of fishing practices are really fine. A lot of them are really, really bad.
Do you eat fish?
I've for the last nearly 2 years, I've gone basically plant-based.
I'm vegan too. I'll be vegan. It'll be 2 years Thanksgiving which is third week in November here in the U.S. I went plant-based, and my number one reason to do it. First, it was the planet and what it does to the planet. All this industrial farming, with the impact on the planet because of that. And the second thing was just the cruelty to the animals. And the last reason was my health. I mean, I was healthy anyway, but yeah, so that's the thing. And sometimes I want to say to people when they're like, I'm going to be a little bit of a jerk, so excuse me for it. Oh, I could never give up cheese. I just want to go, oh, really? I bet you could. Or what if you only eat plant-based 3 days a week or 5 days a week? You know how many animals you're going to save? Do you know what an impact that'll have on the environment? So that's me getting on my soapbox a little bit there.
No, absolutely. Like you say, people just need to make a little bit of effort. And from my side, I found it a little bit hypocritical, spending so much time devoting so much energy to saving animals' lives and go home and eat a big steak or lamb. And at the end of the day, there's no difference. An animal's an animal. And no.
Absolutely. Just because you don't see how it's raised, you don't see it getting killed, you get to go. And people often say to me, I don't want to know when I say I'm vegan. Well, that's, you don't? Well, I think, once I saw 2 key documentaries, I couldn't go back, because
watch
once
a few videos and your mind's made up.
I won't even do wool anymore because I've seen too much. I know too much. Okay. So go plant-based. If you can't go plant-based 3 days a week, 5 days a week. Be smart about single-use plastic. There's all this stuff out there now where you don't have to buy laundry detergent in a big tub now. You can get a laundry detergent like it's a little sheet and you put it in there.
Little strips. Yeah, they're brilliant.
Yeah. And what is there anything else you would recommend on a personal basis that people can do?
Small little things. Wherever you walk around, you see a piece of plastic, pick it up. You go to the beach, take a little bucket, do a little walk. You're going to feel really good about yourself. You can feel smug, done something good. And every little piece of plastic you've picked up as is something that can't end up around an animal's neck, in an animal's throat. In a turtle's stomach, something like that. So it really, no matter where you are, no matter how remote or how public a beach is, like, pick it up. It's not, you don't do it, nobody else is going to do it. It's not going to just magically disappear on its own.
It's so funny because when I used to walk my dog, I used to walk her in the winter because I'm about 15 minutes from the beach, and I would just pick up, and it's the winter, nobody's there, but still there's all this garbage that comes up on the beach.
Oh, wow.
And I realized after watching your video, I went to the beach and it's the summer now. And then I had been blind to that. I was doing it in the winter, but then after watching you, I was like, I'm going to pick up some trash. So I did. And yeah, I did feel good. I don't know if I felt smug, but I felt good. So I understand you have a losing it story for me.
The losing it story would be just losing my old way of thinking, if that would qualify, or more a little bit of like a gaining it, new ideology, a new outlook on life. So about just over 5 years ago, my daughter, my middle child, was diagnosed with cancer, very rare pediatric cancer. She's good now. She's flying. She's absolutely thriving. She's a pillar of health. She's an amazing child. But so it was. We've got basically no pediatric oncology in Namibia. It's such a small country. So my wife had to move with her for 15 months to Cape Town, and we would get to see each other. How far away is that? It's like a 22-hour drive or 2.5-hour flight. We would get to see each other, if we were lucky, every 3 weeks for a weekend between her chemo cycles. So she had 15 months of really heavy chemo radiation.
Do you mind me asking how you found out there was something wrong and how she was diagnosed?
She had a tumor, a big tumor just next to her bum, and she was just complaining about pain. And we took her to the doctor. It was actually misdiagnosed here. We went for a second opinion, and luckily we found it was stage 3 already. But this is the 10-year-old. This is the one who's 10 now. Yeah, she's 10 now. Nina. She was 4 at the time.
She was 4. Oh my God. Okay, so you have a 4-year-old and a 5-year-old, and your 4-year-old is misdiagnosed. Oh, and you had couldn't figure out. I couldn't do the math. I couldn't figure out whether the third one was there or not. So she's misdiagnosed. Then how did you discover she was misdiagnosed?
No, we didn't. We really wanted the first doctor said it's maybe a hematoma or a cyst or something. So sort of just it should pass. And we just immediately went for a second opinion.
Good.
And we my wife had to move to Cape Town. I was stuck here. I mean, this was basically all within the span of a couple of days. So packed up, basically left, rocked up at the hospital, tried to check in. We didn't have a place to stay or anything. So got them set up. We had some amazing support network friends giving us a place to stay. I was based here with a 2-year-old and a 5-year-old. My wife was there, and whenever we could, we'd try and see each other. And I mean, my wife did an amazing job with Nina. I mean, it's not she kept it away from her so well. She was brilliant for him. And once basically, so I mean, once this whole thing was over, I mean, it was such our kids are so tight now, the 3 of them. Like, I've never seen siblings before, and this is so much because they appreciated the time together so much. Those little gaps we had together, and to this day, they still share a room all the time, even though they've got their own rooms. They're incredibly tight, the 3 of them. And once you step out of an experience like this, when you really it was a very hard time. And once you step out of an experience like that, we just sort of sat back, my wife and I, just basically reprioritized everything and realized, like, spend so much time chasing the dollar and trying to live for your retirement and work your ass off now so you can buy an RV when you're 65 and drive off into the sunset. And so we just basically decided to shift priorities and just make our prioritize family life, quality time together, health. And that was it's the best thing we could have ever done. So the mission has been our mandate has basically been to help those who can't help, and out of this to help those who can't help themselves, whether it be people, animals, organizations, anything. We just try and give back and do what we can.
So you've got a 1-year-old, a 4-year-old, and a 5-year-old. Your 4-year-old, Nina is her name? Did you say? Yeah. Or that's your wife's name? Or your daughter's name? Nina. So Nina's diagnosed. Your wife and Nina have to go off to Cape Town. And I know you said that she had chemo, but I didn't quite hear how long were you guys separated?
15 months.
15 months. You did say 15 months. Okay. So your life before this happened looked how? You know what I mean? Was it all about the kayaking?
We had a much bigger, the kayaking was there already, but we had a much bigger tourism business also. And another business, we were very driven still a good family, but we were very busy, and
because we all believe that we have to be successful, and that, we don't want money for money's sake. We want money because the freedom it'll get us and all of that. But we can lose sight of, I think we all lose sight of what's important. So you've got two businesses, you're really busy. This happens. And then how did the shift happen? And how did that, how did that feel for you to sort of, like you said, you let go of the old you, and so your identity shift. What's this new identity, and how does that feel? I mean, is it like
once this whole journey started, we sold off the big business with the intention of, it's fine, we can build up something else again later, just to free me up a bit here, because I would obviously be very involved with the two kids, and then just through the whole process, I mean, you're sitting holding your old daughter's hand, vomiting, and you sort of realize that things are there's a lot more important things in life. And so once this whole thing was done, we just realized things are actually okay, did some sums, and we figured don't need the extra car or the extra trip to Europe or something like that. Let's just try without the other business, and just we'll have a lot more time for ourselves and get away on weekends and support the kids and whatever they want to do, and look after animals, and we've got a ton of animals at home.
Do some kayaking.
Exactly. Do what makes us happy.
Yes. Oh my God. So how long into? So she's got 15 months of chemo. And I know they've always. What I understand, it's 5 years out, then you're okay. But how long into the process of her chemo and her treatment were you guys able to heave a sigh of relief? Where it's oh my God, she's gonna be okay, because you didn't go into it knowing she was going to be okay. Is that correct? No, of
course not. But she responded really well. She was such a trooper. She really did. She managed to keep to all her schedules, which are really heavy. Normally these kids sort of start to drop back a little bit. She was every sort of milestone point and was positive. It was always positive. There's never any major setbacks, never. So we stayed extremely positive the whole time. And you've still always got that big doubt, that big fear you never want to talk about, but it's always in your mind. But the positivity and
just visualizing a
effort on just keeping her positive, creating this absolute bubble around her. And a friend of mine, he's a cancer survivor, and he gives his motivational speeches, and he's all about this power of positivity. And his mantra is happier people are harder to kill. And it was just this thing that stuck with me.
I want that T-shirt. That's a good T-shirt. Happier people are harder to kill, because yes, I mean, we know how much some cancers and some illnesses are a result of stress, because if the body's always living in fight or flight stress, it wreaks havoc on the body. So yeah, absolutely. So would you say you're a happier person now than you were?
I am. Yeah, definitely. I was very stressed before, and stress comes in different forms now. Stress now is having a 200-kilogram seal bearing down at me, trying to bite my arm off, and
I know, I hate when that happens. Happened to me last week.
but no, it's we try and reduce those stress now. It's oh man, we haven't posted yet. We're still it's 4:00 and the new video is not up. But these are all things that at the end of the day, no one's going to die from it. It's going to be fine. We're not neurosurgeons or anything. So
absolutely. Wow. Well, that's great. So let me ask you a question. If there's somebody out there who maybe has two businesses and is, working to get that RV so they can retire when they're 65, but isn't happy, what would you say to them?
It's difficult because
I mean, so it doesn't have to take something like, your child getting cancer to make that change. What would you say to them?
No, it's for me, and it's something I forgot to add earlier, but I always need to say it's a very idealistic approach to life. It's not, for a lot of people, it's not that simple. We were in a very lucky position that other businesses could support us and that we could follow this dream. And a lot of people just don't have that luxury.
Yeah.
But no, just again, this whole thing of just try and make time for doing the things you want. If your dream is to drive your RV into the sunset, then get a small car, get some camp gear, and just go on the weekends and make time for they always say this thing like, nobody on their deathbed ever said they wish they worked more. And
right.
And that's just, if you're working 9 to 5, then that's fine. Then stop work at 5. Don't carry it home. Don't stress about it. If you've got that kind of job, if you're working for yourself, then prioritize time schedules for yourself and make sure that you've got actual time for yourself too. Otherwise, what is the point, really?
Yeah. What is the point? It's funny because I do affirmations and I meditate, and one of the affirmations that was given to me by my life coach was, one of the suggestions was that I had fun every day. And I was like, fun, huh? Okay, let me think about that. What is, because it's like, what, it's always the to-do list. I've got to walk the dog, and I do have fun walking the dog. Don't get me wrong, but that's still a job. That's still something I'm still checking something off my to-do list, right?
List, yeah.
Exactly. And so to do something just simply for fun is, I don't know, it's kind of a radical concept and yet so important. And I think, it's fantastic that I feel like your kids are having a pretty great, unique childhood with, what does your dad do? Oh, my dad's a lawyer. Oh, my dad's a doctor. Oh, my mom is a lawyer. My mom's my dad saves seals. Yeah. And my mom is in charge of everything. Well, that's fantastic. So I think that we end with 3 questions. And the first question is there something that you hope to lose in the next year?
Cool. Can we circle back that one?
We can absolutely circle back. Is there something you'd like to gain in the next year?
I would like to take, we've built up a special skill set of knowledge and things, and we would like to take this global. We believe there are a lot of little organizations doing similar kind of work that do not have the exposure to funding and social media that we have, that could really benefit. We're not trying to brag in any way, but we can help. So we've got extra nets. We can get to these places. There's this organization in Uruguay I really want to get to. They've got a huge seal population. No one doing any work there. Get up to a place like that. Spend a week or 2 doing some proper training, handing over the right equipment for them to use, and basically let them set up themselves in a similar way that we're doing too.
Right. So you'd like to be able to, in a sense, what you're gaining is more influence or gaining a bigger network, so you can help more seals and help more other conservation groups. Fantastic. Love that. And I think it's okay to say, I was going to say gain more followers, only because, like you said, social media is so powerful. Yes, it can be, a selfie and look at my lips, but I am telling you, I love social media because I never would have heard about you. I don't even know if I'd be vegan if I hadn't gone down certain roads. I wouldn't have met Zach. The people that I've met because of how the algorithm works and what my passions are, and I can just click and, send somebody $25. That's all I can afford, but I'm so glad that I can do that. And I know exactly where it's going. So that's fantastic. So should we circle back to something you hope to lose in the next year? Or do you want to go to question number 3 and then we'll circle back?
Give me question 3 first. I'm still.
Question number 3 is there something you hope you never lose?
The drive for what I'm doing right now. I've had jobs where I've started with the most amazing enthusiasm, and after a while it becomes a job, and I don't want this to ever feel like just a job. And I really don't. I can't believe right now that it will, and I just hope it doesn't I just hope that doesn't come.
I can't believe it will either. Because each seal is different. Each one, each time you catch it is different, and you have that level. I mean, that level of satisfaction of watching that animal go free, freeing an animal that was helpless. I mean, I have tears in my eyes. It's phenomenal. And now with the exposure, you're going to be able to help other organizations. And I think it's going to grow exponentially. I really think it is.
We've got a really cool documentary in the pipeline.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
It's been a lot of fun working on that.
So what do you hope to gain in the next year? Maybe a documentary, maybe it could be related to the documentary, what you hope to gain. Hey, what do you hope to gain in the next year? Let's get back to that. I think you know the answer to that.
The documentary. I hope that.
There you go.
I hope that. No, I just hope that to see more that the work we're doing, and we're facilitating a lot of research. I want to see this actually being used to bring in proper legislation, to bring in laws, making stronger penalties on people for dumping fishing gear in the oceans. This can be that what we're doing can serve as a proper motivator to actually bring in some real change.
Good. Now I went back to gain, and you already gave me a good gain, so I meant to go back to lose. So we don't have to make that perfect. I think that you've been so articulate, and I'm so excited about you and what you do. And I feel, and you're not the first person that I've said this to, I feel like there's a shift happening globally, a consciousness shift happening. Absolutely. around the environment, around the planet, around how there's so many people now. It seems like doing not specifically what you're doing, but you and Zach Scow. And I had somebody on named Calvin Tucker, and he rescues cats in Birmingham, Alabama, where the cat, the animal situation is really bad. I mean, I just think there's a shift that's happening that is very exciting, and that there's a new energy around it. Are you experiencing that?
Huge, absolutely. We and that again, like thanks to social media, this is people. We're using the word impactors, not influencers. And
impacting the world, impacting the environment.
People like Zach and them become role models, and not the whoever. I hate naming names, but there are a lot of people out there that don't serve any real logical purpose other than looking good on Instagram and getting paid millions and millions for it. And that these are becoming the kids' role models and people to look up to, and so many people are so keen. They're so amped on trying to just do something for the environment now. We get so many requests every day from school kids up to people in their 70s asking to come and volunteer, come and help, and like, what can they do? Because we don't really take in volunteers, but what can they do? And I absolutely, I feel there's a huge consciousness shift globally from all corners, people coming from the Middle East, from the Far East, from every country you can think of. It's not just a first world thing either. I feel this coming from everywhere, and this is amazing. It's a great time.
That's so exciting. It makes me so profoundly happy because, I grew up in the 60s and 70s when Earth Day first happened. I don't know if the Earth Day is global or not. I think obviously it should be. But when they first had Earth Day, then we walked to school and I recycled, and I was sort of in the first wave of this awareness. And so to see the change really happening globally and is just so exciting. And my God, being vegan now, it's not even a weird thing anymore. It's not even weird. And by the way, it's not hard. It's not difficult. You know what I mean? I thought it was. Don't get me wrong. I was totally, I could never give up cheese. Yeah. Guess what? I did it. And it wasn't that hard.
Milk chocolate was harder for me than me. I come from a massive meat eating culture. Grew up eating so much meat, and milk chocolate was harder for me than meat.
See, but you can still do the dark chocolate.
I know, but I've got a horrible sweet tooth and like.
You're a milk chocolate guy. Yeah. Yeah. I know, but I believe in you. Well, Nadia, am I saying it right?
Nadia, it's
Nadia. I am saying it right. Okay, but every time I say it, I doubt myself. Nadia Dreyer, thank you so much for coming on Losing It, and really great to get to know you a little bit. I love that we're mutual friends with Zach. I'm going to put friends in quotes only because I've never seen him in person, but I do adore him, and so thankful for what you're doing. And those of you who are listening, pick up trash on the beach and
do your part.
Really cut down on your single-use plastic, and go to Ocean Conservation Namibia.org and send $5, send $100, send $20, send what you can, because not only is he saving these seals on the west coast of Africa, he's now growing his network and helping other conservation organizations all over the world. And we can help. We can help. So thank you so much.
Oh, no, so thank you so much. It's been fun.
So I have to say that one of the things I love most about podcasting, and podcasting in the time of COVID, not to minimize for a moment what COVID has done to families and the planet and all of that, but that everything's become, because the idea of just doing it remotely opened up the world, really, that I got to see this guy on Instagram and go, oh my God, he's amazing, and just email him, and he said yes. And what an interesting guy. And I just feel like next to him, like I'm a horrible person. I should maybe just, I don't know, stop breathing, right? What has he done? He's such a great guy. And what he went through with his daughter was so amazing. And thank goodness she's fine and healthy and all of that.
Yeah, that's a lot to go through, and then completely change your life.
Change your life. Yeah. No, I'm dedicating my life to saving seals, protecting the ocean that I love, and protecting these little beautiful animals that don't have anybody looking out for them. So yeah. So make sure you guys go to NamibiaConservation.org and send him, $5, $50, whatever you can afford, and save a few seals. And you know what? After I interviewed him, Ronnie, when I went to the beach, I took a walk and I picked up garbage. And
nice.
Yeah.
Anyone can do that too.
That's what I'm saying. Guys, do it right now. Okay, good. Thank you.
Right now.
Do it right now. So last week we had Raquel on, Raquel Garceta, and she talked about being scammed. Oh my God. That was really not a good story. And so we were instead of reading a letter from a listener, I said to Ronnie, I said, been a few scams in my own family. So maybe I'll just go into that well and mention a couple of them. So when I was 9 or 10, first of all, my dad used to like to tell this story about how he and a bunch of his business partners tried to buy a bank with its own money, meaning they went to the bank, borrowed money from the bank, and then tried to take that money that they'd borrowed from the bank to buy the bank.
What?
I don't know. All I know is he said, that. And then there was that time that me and my business partners tried to buy a bank with its own money. So just to give you just a little peek into my father. And
interesting.
Right? So at some point when I was 10, my parents separated and later divorced. And the reason they separated is because my dad was indicted for fraud. I don't know any of the details. I think it had something to do with insurance, because I know that he sold life insurance and he had these shady business partners, right? So he gets indicted for fraud. And it was, according to Cardi, and I don't know if Cardi has a much better memory than I do. It was like Richard Spencer indicted for fraud was on the front page of the local newspaper, like, the PV News or something, Palos Verdes News, not on the LA Times. It wasn't big news. It was little news.
Yeah.
And apparently my Uncle Pete was also involved in this business deal. So my Uncle Pete was also indicted for fraud. By the way, my dad was not convicted. He didn't go to jail. He wasn't convicted. But my Uncle Pete, who had 6 kids, he's like, I'm indicted for fraud. I'm getting the hell out of Dodge. So my Uncle Pete goes to Sears. We know the department store Sears. He buys a washer and dryer on time. Like, he gives them $50 and then $50 a month, right? Is sort of like, right?
Like
and it's the kind of thing back in those days where you would pay the $50, you take it home, and then if you didn't make the payments, they'd come and take it back.
Really?
Right. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. So that was when people trusted people. Foolishly, apparently. So my Uncle Pete buys this washer and dryer on time at Sears, sells it to some neighbor or something, takes the money from the washer and dryer, and moves his family to Mexico.
How much money could you even get for that?
That's what I don't know. Or maybe
enough to move to Mexico?
How cheap was it to move to Mexico in those days?
Yeah.
That's the thing, right? Like, I've got $450. Hey guys, get in the station wagon. Let's go.
Yeah, exactly. Like, how cheap is it to move to Mexico, and how much did he sell it for that he made that much money?
I know.
Yeah.
Now, again, I do want to say that that's my dad's version of the story, and he's dead, so we can't ask him. And so's Uncle Pete. But I do know that Uncle Pete and Aunt Nancy and all their kids did move to Mexico and lived there for a very long time. And it happened right after my dad was indicted.
But it worked. It worked.
Nothing happened to Uncle Pete. No, except that he couldn't come back to the U.S. So that's.
Did he ever come back to the U.S.? Well, I mean, like, what happens if he did, right?
I know. I don't know.
What would they do?
He did come back years and years later. He did come, and I did see him. But
they stopped him at the border.
So sometimes you're scammed by a boss. Sometimes you discover that your father or your uncle are scamming other people. But in any case, look for those red flags, guys. Look for those red flags. It's important. It's important. So I think for next week, what Nadia went through with his daughter was a huge change happening in his life, being confronted with a tragedy, something very upsetting, and he made huge personal life choices, changed things, changed what his priorities were and are today. So if you've had that kind of experience where something happens in your life and it makes you look at your life and really shift around your priorities, email us at losingitcontact@gmail.com, and maybe we'll read it on the air. So the last thing I want to say is, Ronnie.
Yes.
Yes, Nelsie. I'm gonna miss you. I know I'm not gonna miss you because I'm gonna see you all the time, but I'm gonna miss this dynamic because it has been a lot of fun.
I know.
Here's your turn.
I was gonna let you finish.
Here's your turn to talk about how much you're gonna miss me. Go. 1, 2, 3, go.
I was gonna say, I know I'm gonna miss it also. But yeah, definitely gonna miss it also. It's just so funny that I just think about the intros and outros, and a lot of my stories have been in my time in New Hampshire in that little cabin in the middle of nowhere. And it's funny how things have changed already so quickly. But I feel like, I'll definitely be around on the Losing It podcast. I'll come in at some point again to revisit. So it's not a goodbye forever. It's till next time.
It's till next time. It's farewell. Or I don't know. Is there a difference between goodbye and farewell? I don't know. Yeah. And it's funny. I don't think, did you have any idea when you said, yeah, sure, I'll produce your podcast, that you'd suddenly like be co-hosting and doing like, I don't think you knew, did you?
No, I think we even like when I wasn't even supposed to be on camera until you were like, do you just want to do it? And I was like, okay. Yeah. Right. And then I wasn't like, we did that first episode where I talked about like almost getting stabbed. And that turned out to be the first episode I did.
Yeah. So we didn't have a guest for the first episode. So it was like, Ronnie, do you have a losing it story? Oh yeah, I was almost stabbed. All right, let's go. Right. And the die was cast, and then that became the way we did it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that's it, guys. So I'm going to say farewell to you, Ronnie Whaley. And last but not least, my dear listeners, please, I beg of you, don't poop in the ocean. Bye.
Losing it, losing it, losing it, losing it, losing it, losing it. You came and you listened to the story. I hope so much that it didn't make you sorry, and I hope so much that you'll come back again.
Losing It, hosted by Nelsie Spencer, produced by me, Ronnie Whaley. Theme song by Hunter Williams. Follow us online on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and all podcasting platforms at Losing It Podcast. Viewers can email Nelsie with questions or comments about life, writing, comedy, or even your own Losing It story for a chance to be on the Losing It Podcast at losingitcontact@gmail.com. For everything Nelsie and everything Losing It, visit us at nelsiespencer.com.